There's a certain muscular charm that motorcycle had, because back then they were all like naked sports, kind of street bikes. The way it looks, the way it feels is all in sync. I think that the CB really stood out.
There are very few legends who live long enough to see themselves become a legend. And very few legacies actually get carried forward to centuries and live that long. But one such legacy was created by Honda back in 1965 with the CB series of bikes. And we have Akshai Varde with us today with his CB bike. We're going to be discussing more about these bikes. He's going to talk about it. Now, he is an entrepreneur, a media person, and also the owner of Vardenchi. For me, I've known the brand for decades now. And for me, this is a very exciting moment, is because I'm getting to see one person that I have looked up to. I have sometimes gone and sneakily sat on a bike and taken a picture, which you guys can see right now. But now I'm here in person. We're going to talk about his bike, his experience with the bike, and also discuss the legacy that the CB bikes have created over the world.
Thank you, Aurelius. That was a nice introduction. I'm humbled.
I hope I've got the name right.
Bang on.
Okay, for over a decade, Vardenchi was called as Vardenchi. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do, because in my friend circle that's the same. The name Vardenchi is because his name is Varde, and in Marathi, when you say Vardenchi bike hai, that's how it is. The Vardenchi bike is what the name is, and not Vardanchi. So guys, whoever was making a mistake like me, stop that. Okay, let's take a quick round around. There's less traffic right now. It's going to be, the temperatures are soaring. So we're finished. We'll stop for a quick tea, and then we can discuss about the bike then.
Sounds good.
Let's roll.
When I had a day job and I needed a motorcycle, I went out there and bought one, and I customized it because I wanted things to have my own identity. It's a motorcycle that you can get really comfortable with and enjoy. I think that Honda as a brand and a company has really mastered the art of making low maintenance motorcycles.
I really like the color on your bike more. Though this has a more modern look, but this is well balanced between the old classic designs that they used to have.
It's also because we've changed a couple of things
Have you
around
also
the
changed the
motorcycle. No, the tank is original. We changed the handlebars and the mirror setup, the seat, the exhaust, the lights. We've added a crash guard. So, couple of things that changed the personality from the very, very classic highness,
This is a stock bike.
That's
So
stock.
Everything that you see on the bike is how it came. Even the tank on this bike is what the retro bikes would have. Though I believe it's because of the paint, I felt that this tank looks more towards the retro thing because they didn't have matte finish back then.
Yeah, so both the tanks, the shape is the same. But because the treatment in, the sportier decal and a matte finish, the colors, but changes the way it feels.
Back in 1965, when they first started to develop the bike, it was completely based off their MotoGP of bike.
Yeah, all the elements from the MotoGP were put into it. Also, the Norton and the Triumphs were already dominating the mid-segment markets, and Honda needed a motorcycle that would compete right there in that space. And I think that the CB was the answer to their prayers.
CB450, what they started with, the
CB450.
twin cylinder.
Yeah.
With the 750 that they launched.
Inline 4.
First inline 4.
Yeah. The first bike to have the disc brakes.
Yeah. And I believe that had a good balance between a nice sporty bike and a bike that you could use as a daily driver.
Sure, because the American bikes were very big and more like cruiser, and Honda with its refined engineering and technology brought a motorcycle that was far more nimble and easier to ride compared to what was out there. So I think that the Honda made a huge difference. What's interesting is the evolution of the CB. Right from the 60s to what the CB is today and everything in between. It's really maintained that authenticity and true to the original ethos, I think, of the motorcycle that
Absolutely. How much has it changed? It's absolutely not changed much. Though you have the modernization, ABS and cruise control and small little things which have given it a modern touch, but it has definitely stayed true to its heritage. And is that the reason why you also own this?
Yeah, when the CB came to India, it was, for us, it was more like one more platform to work on. And so we got the CB, and it was interesting. We fell in love with the motorcycle. But I think that in general, for people to have access to a Honda CB series in that segment at that pricing, for the people who understand what the motorcycle is about, that's phenomenal, Of course, we love it. We've always been in love with classic motorcycles, and over the entire span of us customizing motorcycles, the Enfield was the larger share of motorcycles that we customized. But when the Javas and the ESD and the Honda came in, it just opened up a lot of more classic motorcycles, which was not something we thought would really happen. You see so many sports motorcycles entering the market, but the classic segment is really doing well.
For me, the love of the sport and bikes was MotoGP.
Sure.
And I never imagined Honda being that, because they were leading. The moment they started winning races in 1961, they were just leading when it comes to MotoGP. Then were the other European brands who were competing. But the CB was one of the most smoothest sounding bikes there.
Yeah.
And they've continued that. The refinement in engines that you find, even the inline fours that they have in the 650, the 1000 cc's, they're the best sounding engines so far.
No, for sure. And there's a certain muscular charm that motorcycle had, because back then they were all like naked sports, kind of street bikes, right? So I think that the CB really stood out. And the way so since we are so design oriented as a company, we look at the design of different motorcycles and we see there's something really endearing about that muscular tank and the way the engine is formed in the seat, and it's a beautiful motorcycle.
I, for one, got my hands on the 350 last night. There was a short ride I did from the showroom to my place, but this, what we are doing since morning, that's giving me a proper in-person experience with the bike. With the response, the throttle response of the bike is good. It's got good power, and it has that sporty feel, but despite that, it's comfortable. You can lean down. So there are a lot of these people you'll see making these bikes into cafe racers.
Yeah.
I understand why they do it now. Why would they go for this bike? It's because
a lot of the race, heritage and all of that essence of all Honda racing trickles down into these motorcycles as well.
So, and that's what. So the CB series of bikes is what explains that better. And since I have been riding it for the last 12 hours, since last night to today. You've had this one with you for the longest time. What has been your experience with the bike?
Well, like I mentioned, the way it looks, the way it feels is all in sync. It's like a complete package of a motorcycle. And to be able to, for Honda to be able to go up to the CB750s and, higher engine capacities, and then come down to a CB350 and still give a super package like that looks and feels like this. It's very complete. You don't feel like there's anything missing in it, even for us to, find an entire customization package on this motorcycle, we really had to think hard, because the motorcycle's all there. It's all already, so good and perfect.
Honda changed the way people looked at bikers and brought about a new era in the world of biking. The legacy that these bikes created lives on in every CB motorcycle that you see out on the road today. Hence, there is no doubt in why it was once called the bike of the century.